A very warm welcome back to TED Talks and Bowen's Garage. Thank you for joining me. Now today, quite a special little video. It's always nice when you get to show off your new car, and today I am doing just that. It's a review that I've been wanting to do for a while. Haven't had the chance to get around to it, but today I have. So, this is my new daily commuter tool. 32 miles it's going to do a day, 5 days a week. And it'll be interesting to know your thoughts. First and foremost, the clues in the title of it is an electric vehicle, a full EV. And as a car dealer, that can be a hard pill to swallow. I've always been a sceptic, may always be a sceptic, and I've been quite vocal in my opinions on electric vehicles and how I don't like them. So now it's pretty hypocritical of me to now have gone and bought one. But I have, and I'm very interested to know your thoughts. So, without further ado, here is my brand new 2025 Alpine A290 GTS. So here it is. I hope you enjoyed that little montage that Callum has put together for you. I'm not very good at that sort of thing, but kudos to him for doing that. But here it is. What do you think? I like it. Alpine, the A290 is based on the Renault 5, and the Renault 5, of course, in the 80s was a very famous turbocharged hot hatch. And this is, of course, the new version that they've based the car on, and Alpine have done their own thing. Alpine is sort of Renault's split-off racing division. So it's made in France. It's very French in terms of its looks, and in terms of all its parts are all Renault bits. So, how it differs from the Renault 5 is, A, it's got more power. The Renault 5s have up to 160 brake horsepower in their range. Alpine have bought one out which is 180 and 220 horsepower. This is the GTS, which is the 220 brake horsepower model. So the sort of, in inverted commas, top of the range specification. So with that, obviously, the thing that springs out the most is these, in my opinion, fantastic looking daytime running lights. All a nod to the rally car, the Renault 5 Turbo, which was a hell of a bit of kit. So that looks the part. We've got 19-inch alloy wheels. I've gone for the black, which I really like. I think it complements the wheel arches and the mirror caps and the roof. They come with Michelin Pilot Sport 5s. Colour, I chose the colour because I like blue and it matches my day-to-day car, or my previous day-to-day car up until now. So as a two-car garage, I think they complement each other really well. It's much bigger than I thought. That is one of my first impressions. You think of a small hot hatchback, but cars just aren't small anymore, are they? It's a big chunky thing. I think the extended wheel arches sort of give a bit of that away, or just give it that slightly chunkier feel. I really like the rear lights. I like the badging. I first saw a Renault 5 at a Car Dealer Live conference at the British Motor Museum last year, and I thought, that looks a cool thing. But it just didn't quite have that something. Then I saw that Alpine had bought these out, and I was like, that'll do for me. So, spec'd one up. It came within budget. And here it is. I have no idea what this does. I'm sure it's just a decorative thing. I don't know whether you can fry eggs under it. I'm not sure, but I'm sure you guys will tell me. In terms of specification, Because it is the GTS model, it's got a really nice level of spec, everything I would want in a car for commuting. So you've got front and rear parking sensors, you've got power folding door mirrors, which open, and I need to turn that off because it just opens and closes every time you go past it. We've got full leather interior. I really like the interior, I must say. We've got this cream and blue, French blue, Alpine embossed into the headrests. One thing I'm not so keen on is the French flag everywhere. And I mean everywhere. I'm, a very proud Englishman, not a huge fan of the French, but I bought a French car, so you have to let them have that bit, I suppose. Everything's really nice. Everything's really nice. I was expecting not the greatest finish in the world, but it really is well put together, this. Now, obviously, the switches are all Renault. A lot of it is Renault. Steering wheel, I think, is fantastic. Probably one of my favourite parts of the car, actually. You've got the different driving modes, you've got your different recharge options. Obviously, they're trying to make it look like an F1 steering wheel. They haven't quite, but it looks cool. Overtake button, I'll show you that on the test drive. It's impressive. Pedals are nice. Cockpit's nice, all comes towards you. Centre armrest. We've got wireless phone charging. Very easy setup across the middle. Your key goes in there. Electronic handbrake, like I say, all this is Renault. A couple of things I've noticed that I don't like. No cup holders. There are no cup holders anywhere at all. So if you do like to have a coffee on your way to work, which I don't because coffee sends me high as a kite, but if you do like to have a drink on your way to work, and some of us do like to drink and drive, not having a cup holder is a little bit inconvenient. Also, the glove box is miles away. If you're leaning over and you want some, I don't know, you keep your fudges in there, or your Werthers, you can't reach, it's bloody miles away. Other than that, I really do like it. You've got A290 embossed into here. This is all really nice. This is nice. All leather. Some speakers which I can't pronounce. You get a slightly higher driving position. So certainly than my day-to-day saloon car, it's a higher driving position. Push the button to start. You've got a really nice dash display. I keep saying really nice, don't I? And yeah, as they keep telling me at work, you bought a Renault, mate. Well, maybe. It's got all the spec I could need as a day-to-day car. I'm quite fussy when it comes to commuting. It's 35 minutes to work, 35 minutes or more home. I like to have my creature comforts, so we get heated steering wheel, you get heated seats. Now, the heated steering wheel, I think you only get in the GTS models, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. Obviously, you get Apple CarPlay. You get your satellite navigation. You get all your mod cons, reversing camera. It's also got quite a few safety features which I will switch off because I don't like the automatic braking. I don't like the lane assist. Look at that A290, just if it's focusing. Look at that. Lights up at night, which is cool. Roof's cool. It's all cool. And I'm not a very cool person, but it's easy to use. In terms of size, for me, 99% of the time it's just me coming to work by myself. But you do get the 5-door practicality. There's a decent amount of legroom in there. There's a decent amount of headroom. Cool roof lining. 3 headrests. Obviously you got your ISOFIX, so it's a proper 5-seater. And for what I need it for, I just think it ticks the boxes. We've got electric chargers here. I was spending 80 quid a week on fuel in my old car. So it feels to me like driving this is pretty well free. It won Car of the Year. I don't know exactly what Car of the Year award this won, but whichever award it was in, I guess it's L'Automobile Magazine. There we are. So if you read that, you'll know that this won. But yeah, there we go. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know what you think. I like the brake calipers. I think they're Brembos. It does lots of things with the keys when you're not stood by it, which is very Renault-y. I'm not a great fan of that. I can switch all that off. But that is it. Let me know what you think. We'll go for a test drive now, and I'll run you through the figures and how I think it drives. but we'll see. Let's have a whirl. So, welcome to the inside of the Alpine A290 GTS. I didn't think I'd have an electric car quite so early in the reign in the UK, but here we are, and things change, and I guess I've got to get with the times. There's quite a few settings on this car, some of which I like, some of which I don't like. I'm not one for having huge amounts of driver controls. I find that they all get a bit too much, and I like to actually drive. So every time I start it, I have to go into driving assistance and click on the personal button, which is all the settings I've set up. So I don't like it dragging me from lane to lane. I don't like it slamming the brakes on me when I'm 4 miles from a car in front. I just like to drive the car. Now it's quiet. It's certainly quiet. It was once I decided that these looked the part, I'm quite impulsive when it comes to cars. And I like to be a little bit different, and this is certainly different. I haven't seen another one of these locally. I haven't seen one in the county. Now, obviously, I've only had it for a couple of weeks, so I'm sure I will do at some point. I've seen a couple of Renault 5s, and they just didn't quite have the... Well, I suppose, being French, they didn't quite have the je ne sais quoi. They looked the part, but they still looked a little bit Renault-y. Whereas this looks French, but I think with the spotlights at the front and the slightly wider arches and so on, I just think it looks a really chunky, cool bit of car. And for me to drive to work and back, I mean, it's one of those, isn't it? It's not going to set your world on fire. I'm used to having a car with what was 500 horsepower and then been remapped to 600 horsepower. But the reason I've changed, or the reason I've got another car to go with it, is because it was being wasted. I was putting 80 quid a week of fuel minimum into that car to go 17 miles to work, 17 miles home on the same road every day, doing 40 miles an hour behind everybody else who was doing exactly the same. It was always the same cars on the commute. You'd see them both ways. It was just wasted, really. And it was a lovely place to be, and it is a lovely place to be, and I will still drive it in the summer, and I'll drive it to motor racing, and I'll drive it to shows and that sort of thing, because that's what I like to do. But I needed something to get backward and forward to work in. I didn't want to put too many miles on the Alpha, my other car, because I think it's a car that's going to be worth some decent money in the future, and I wanted to own it and wanted to keep it for long term. And doing 12,000 miles a year in that was pointless, absolutely pointless. So I needed another car. I wasn't sure whether to get one on a lease, whether to go EV, whether to spend 15 or 20 grand on a nice diesel, you know, a 330D or an Audi S4 diesel, something like that. But, you know, for that sort of money, it was probably going to be 6 or 7 years old and done 80,000 miles. Or I leased something EV. We've got chargers at the garage. We fitted a new one anyway. Do I go that way? And what I decided to do, clearly, was go down the EV route. So I decided that I wanted one of these. I thought they were the best looking car out there. I then had to find the right colour combination, then I had to find the right spec that I wanted. So I spoke to, and this is a shameless plug, they're not paying me to do this, I wish they were, but we use a company called Ready to Lease, and James and the guys and Jeff will really look after you. We got our courtesy cars through them as well, and I told them exactly what I wanted, and they got me one. In terms of the figures, so this is on a business lease, which obviously if you've got a business is a good thing to do. There are some tax benefits for having an EV car within your fleet. So we've got it on a 4-year lease with an annual mileage of 6,000. Obviously I'm going to use the other car from time to time. We might go slightly over the mileage. We'll just pay the difference if it is. In terms of the figures, it cost us less than £1,200 down, 1,170 something pounds down, and then monthly payments of 360 quid. That's with the spec, with all the bits and bobs. That includes your road tax, and all that sort of thing as well, which I don't think is bad at all for what is with the spec on it, essentially a £40,000 car. Now, how a small 5-door hatchback is £40,000 in this day and age is a story for an argument for a completely different episode. The price of new cars, obviously horrendous, but they are coming down. So I think in the current climate, when we're not quite sure how EVs are still going to go in the market over the next few years, buying one was a bit silly. Buying a used one, I'd rather spend my money on a fast diesel. So I've gone for this, and I can just pay the money and then give it back. Or if I really like it, try and maybe buy it off them. I don't know. We will see. In terms of its performance, I haven't really spoken about that. Quite honestly, there is not huge amounts to say in terms of its performance. It's quite hard for me to get excited about how it performs, because I've had a car that has been so loud and quick and gave you that real emotion when you're driving it. This doesn't, because I still think, and people will shout to me, I still think an electric car is essentially an appliance. It is basically an appliance. But it's a good one. The ride's good. There's not much noise. I like the cabin. Everything points towards you, so the screens are aimed at you. The steering wheel is nice and chunky, and it's in front of you. I quite like to, if I'm doing track days and stuff like that, I like the steering wheel quite close. But I like the pedals quite far away. And that is this. Everything is here. It's easy to navigate with. And then in terms of speed, so at the moment I'm in normal driving mode, and this is how I will drive backwards and forwards to work. You've got some different driving modes that you can put the car in. The one thing that did surprise me, and I'll show you now, is the overtake button, because it's pretty bloody alarming actually. So we'll just go onto this part of the dual carriageway. I've got this little red button that I showed you on the dash. Now if I press this, we're doing 40 miles an hour now. Oh, hold on, we're doing 50, ready? And that's 80. That's 80 miles an hour. Now that was quick. That was like an immediate bang. Now I'm not going to be overtaking that much on the way backwards and forwards to work on my 16-mile route up the A49. It's not going to be happening, but sometimes you do get stuck behind a right slow coach Simon, and all you want to do is whip round it on the way home. That overtake button, it's just instantaneous bosh. Like I say, the Renault 5s will only got to 160 brake horsepower, I believe. This is 220. I think for any car that you need to be driving, that if you're keen about cars and you like to drive briskly, 200 horsepower is what you need. I always maintain that. That is what you need to be able to. 150 is okay, but it's a bit. 200 is like the sweet spot. It's a perfectly quick enough car to get you out of pretty much any situation that you're going to find yourself in. 500 or 600 horsepower, like in my other car, is completely nonsensical. Obviously, I know it's stupid, but I love it. So, yeah, overall, I'm happy. I am happy. I like to have cars that are different, always have done. My first brand new car was a Skoda Octavia. Now you might think that's very boring. It was an Octavia VRS, and it was in bright Kermit green with big wheels on it, and it got plenty of looks. And I'm not one of these really like to be brash. I just like to drive a car where people who like their cars, which I do, and are passionate about cars, will see your car and they'll look at it and they'll go, don't see many of those. That's a nice looking car. Whereas most people, I'm driving along through Ross now, nobody will look at this car. But people who know, and they'll go, bloody hell, haven't seen an Alpine, or bloody hell, haven't seen an Alpha. I like to have cars that are slightly different. Because we're dealing with Honda Jazzes and Ford Fiestas and Fiat 500s and Toyota Yaris's, now, great cars, perfect for our audience, but not for me. I see enough of those, hundreds of them a year. So to get into something that's a little bit different, drive home. The spec's really good. Overall I'm well impressed. The ride's slightly firm, potentially over, bumps and whatever, but it's got 19s on it, fairly low profile. It's a sporty looking car, but it's comfortable, plenty of room. The range is something that is obviously a talking point on all EVs. Now they said the range on this, should be between 220 and 240 miles. Now, the car arrived with me with 3 miles on the clock, and I charged it to 100%, and it said 180. So even though the car has not been anywhere, the full range is still less than 200 miles. Now, we're on 70% now, and it's at 106. This morning, it was cold, it was 2 degrees when I got in the car. That's what it's like in rural Herefordshire. Bit nippy. And I had the heated seats on, and I had the heated steering wheel on for the first 10 or 15 minutes of my journey. And the range dropped. I mean, it went from, by the time I got from the end of my driveway to the end of my road, which is less than a mile, it had gone from 180 miles range or 175 miles range to 145 miles range. Obviously when you start to brake and you're in traffic and whatever, it does charge itself. But yeah, I'm pleased with it. The range for me isn't so much of an issue because I have another car, or I have access to plenty of cars if needed, so I'm not too worried about the range. If this was your only car, I would be a little bit concerned, because I just don't think I don't think cars like this currently go far enough on a charge. 180 miles, if you're lucky with this, I don't think is enough. Even if I wanted to go to Birmingham Airport and back, which is like an hour and a half, you'd still be you don't want to be coming back from holiday squeaking that you're going to have to pull over and charge it up. Or if you wanted to go to Heathrow, or you wanted to go, anything with a proper journey is going to be difficult. Tesla's a little bit easier, you get a longer range, and obviously there are Tesla charging stations here, there and everywhere, but something like this is a little bit more tricky. But yeah, overall very pleased with it. It fits my budget. The budget now for the 2 cars is the same as what I was paying on the 1 car, so I'm pleased. It looks good, it drives well, it's quick enough for day-to-day use. I think it's fashionable, it's a bit different. So yeah, I like it. Let me know your thoughts, obviously. I know there's a lot of skeptics who watch the channel, and I always have been a skeptic, and openly admit that, and I've been shot down before. But let me know your thoughts, let me know what it's like, let me know if you would buy one, let me know if there's things you don't like. Like I say, not having a cup holder in the front, I didn't even cross my mind before I bought it that it doesn't have a cup holder, until it arrived, and I went, shit, it doesn't have a cup holder. But other than that, I like it. It's a cool place to be. It's comfortable. It's fashionable, I think. Not that I'm a very fashionable person. I mean, look at the state of these. I'm not a fashionable person, but I'm pleased. I think the build quality is pretty good for a Renault. Everybody at work is telling me it's a Renault. They're trying to get into my head that I bought a Renault, and I have. There's no two ways about it. But for work, for what I need, I'm pleased. Thank you very much for watching. See you again very soon. Take care.